that when you see me, you should feel free to speak with and to me. When you see me, you should feel free to speak and ask questions of me. When you see me, you should be free to offer your counsel to me. When you see me, you should be free to criticize me if you're not happy with something that I have done. I have made the deliberate decision to offer myself to serve publicly. And that means I must serve you. I therefore wish for you to hold me accountable to that pledge.
Oh God, baby, Jesus is of the blood. Grenadian balling with the mouth closed. Higher the monkey climb is more we expose. My people balling with the mouth closed. Oh God, and this is of the blues. My people balling with the mouth closed. Mr. PM, please open up some doors.
Welcome to another episode of Simon Says, where facts come first. I'm your host, Jenny Simon. And today, like every other day, we have regular programming. We're going to do a little update. We're going to go into the meat of the matter, and then we're going to wrap it up. So we'll take a quick break and come right back.
Thank you for tuning in to Simon Says. To ensure that you never miss an episode, click subscribe and make sure to turn on the notifications by clicking on the notification bell icon. See you at the next episode.
So we're going to begin with the CBI. And in answer to our questions, to the people's question as to how much money did the coffers, or the Grenada coffers, get from that $1 billion CBI announcement. And according to a release from the Ministry of Finance, a mere EC dollars, 382 million. Now, I'll leave you with this. $1 billion is equal to 1,000 million dollars. So $1,000 million gives you $1 billion. And we were able to get from that $1 billion, $382 million. Food for thought. Work has begun on the Clabone Road leading to the Mount Pure water plant. And here's some photos of what's going on at the moment. It's a temporary, it looks like a temporary act, but it's better than nothing. It will help out, at least especially as the rain starts. So the rain doesn't go with the stones, the crushed stones. But we thank the government of Grenada on behalf of Ms. McQueen for doing something to help with the situation. It's a temporary fix, as I said, but it's better than nothing. And we say thank you on behalf of Mount Pure. We're moving straight into the meat of the matter. Money's been spent on party hawks, we know, and there's always someone begging and are at the mercies of the citizens for financial help to try and save the lives of their loved ones. Now, a few days ago, I received a GoFundMe post in my WhatsApp. I'll read a portion of it for you, and it said, "Hi, I'd really appreciate if you would share or donate to this GoFundMe. Help Kelanni beat cancer. We need your help urgently for Kelanni. a brave 3-year-old, and that's what touched my heart really. A brave 3-year-old with cancer, a spirit that shines bright. Kelanni can count to 10, recite her ABCs with enthusiasm, and her favorite song is Yes, Jesus Loved Me. We would put up this post on our site, and if you look on there, you'd see the link where you can donate towards Kelanni's health, or the GoFundMe link. You'd see that there where you can and make your contributions. And I want to mention here, and if you go through the post, you would see for yourself, both parents, both Kelanni's mom and dad are public workers, both of them. There is, as I said, the link is there on the screen for you to donate, those of you who wanting to help this family in need, to help save the life of their 3-year-old daughter. My concern is the fact that our government, the politicians, spend monies or can find money to spend on every corner, from every corner in this 334.6 square miles piece of rock called Grenada, to satisfy their cronies. Food for the boys and girls, of course, and can't find monies to save the life of a 3-year-old whose parents have to put out a GoFundMe to save her life. She's already in Florida, as I understand it, but they need the money, to pay as they go. Not forgetting the many families and friends who get on trucks on the weekends, on a Saturday. You see them traveling cross country, throughout the island, begging and asking for help to save the lives of their loved one. Some of them passing away before they were able to get the money to pay for the medical to save the lives of their family, their family and friends in some cases. I would play here a clip of the Prime Minister explaining to us how important basic health care is to us and to him, to his administration.
For too long, Grenadians have had to make do with an inept system that has undervalued its healthcare professionals and underfunded critical health services to the detriment of many. Mr. Speaker, access to affordable healthcare is a basic right that this administration intends to deliver to the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique.
When, sir? When? I mean, you hear it all the time. They're only there for 2 years. But there are things that should be prioritized. And therefore, the lives of our people, you think, should be one of those. If you don't have our people, our greatest resource, is our greatest resource. And so when coming to healthcare, and as you said, sir, that healthcare would be on the front burner, we're hoping, or we had hoped, that would be so, and that would be one of the things that we would see transformed or being transformed to this point, up to this point. In fact, it has gotten worse. We have monies, we can find monies for advisors galore. The Prime Minister alone must have about 5 advisors, right? And you have advisors everywhere. Contracts for advisors in agriculture, in all the ministries, just so we can pay our cronies, just so we can pay our supporters. And some of them only support when NDC wins. That's the only time you see them around, upfront and personal. Other than that, you don't. Have you ever seen them wear a yellow t-shirt marked NDC? And if they come around to a pocket meeting, they're way in the back in the bushes, ducking and hiding. But the same set, well, we have some new ones this time around, but the same set from NDC of 2008, who ate food, they're back eating food again 15 years later. But we promoting our young people. Monies for the 50th anniversary celebrations, $22.5 million. Can't answer the question of what and where the monies was spent, except for the ISO and the carronage, the metalworks, a metal company, Metal Master, sole trader owned by adjacent Friday, bosom buddy of the special envoy and head of the creative desk, Orlando Romaine. Metal Masters was registered on May the 15th, 2023, and was paid $503,000.75. More than $500,000. The electrical done by Lunar Lighting Decor, owned by Michaela and Godfrey Marichaud, was paid $290,750. A total of $793,825 for that disaster you see on the carronage there. And we more than $250,000 in excess of, $750,000, in excess of $750,000 for what you see on the carronage here. And it's temporary there. It's a temporary thing. As much as they have it up there right now, I bet they can wait for the carnival season to come to take it down, to blame it on the trucks. But that can't stay up there forever. Just looking at it, it cannot stay there forever. So we've spent in excess of $750,000 on lights on the carronage for our celebrations, and we can't find monies for a 3-year-old. And the parents have to put out a GoFundMe. Spezial fireworks, well, this one we can't find in the registry. Maybe they didn't have them registered because, after the elections in 2022, they were friends and family and supporters were told, go register your company and come, right? That one got $20,300 for the fireworks. We don't know who Spezial Fireworks is, but they got a $20,300 to do the fireworks. Decorations, we're hearing allegedly $500,000. And the company is questionable. Company that is being called is questionable. And of course, the magnificent drone show, 1.5 million, with that after 3 days. You know, they say Grenada is an 8 days wonder, but I think about after 3 days, the wow went back with the company, and so did the $1.5 million. Monies were spent on tickets and accommodation for friends from the diaspora to come home for the celebrations. In the sit-in earlier on this week, the Minister of Finance said he don't know of any money spent on tickets and accommodation for friends coming home from the diaspora. He didn't say money wasn't spent. He said he don't know that monies were spent, but we know. And Kai identified persons who got tickets to come home for the celebrations. And yet, there are those, the local Grenadians, the ones that, you know, the ones we call ordinary men and women. There are those who still have not received payment for their services from the celebrations. But the big shots collected $9,000 and $10,000 a month. A month. Monies were given to family members, in-laws, and friends contracted by the NOC/Secretariat and hidden from the nation. Why? While others sit at their desks for 14 months collecting $10,000 a month. You do the math. $10,000 a month for 14 months. All this and this administration continue to nest nepotism, conflict of interest, and corruption. The point I'm making is monies are spent, but on themselves and their own. They are not spent on the ordinary people. They are not spent on things like healthcare. They are sitting at the table with huge chunks of the pie on their plates. The Prime Minister said, what they're saying is not pie in the sky. The pie is actually on the plate this time around. Yes, but who? Who are the ones that are eating this pie? It's just a few. And the rest of us are down below the table hoping that the crumbs drop and we might get something, we might get a taste of the pie. And then there is the Grenada Lottery Authority, the Lotto. These days seem to be an arm of the Ministry of Finance, paying party supporters incognito. Salaries, in some cases, just because they supported and campaigned vigorously during the 2022 campaign. Lotto, my friends, would get its own segment in time to come. CBI, the Citizen by Investment Program, these days is sponsoring steel pan. a 3-year sponsorship in the first instance to the Rainbow City All-Stars, presenting them with their first check of EC $158,560. Now, I'm all for culture. I actually played pan with angel harps in the rhythm section 1 year, some years ago. I played with angel harps in the carnival for the pan competition. So I like pan. My daughter played with them from age about 8. Played with angel harps, and she too played both junior and senior panorama. Now, my point here is how it is. Well, let me first ask the question. Isn't the CBI program or the unit a subsidiary of the government of Grenada? Now, if so, how is it that the Citizen by Investment Program, the unit, sponsoring a pan ban? How is that? Now, in their release, they went on to say, the Citizen by Investment Unit, in a demonstration of its commitment to impacting Grenadians' lives, even beyond the National Transformation Fund. Now, this is something new, right? Impacting how many Grenadian lives are impacted by a single ban, right? Pan ban. This is something new. And it's clear them fellas just doing what they want. And I said it before, there are rules, there are laws that governs a country. And anything to do with the government of a country. And CBI, being a subsidiary of the government of Grenada, is no different. How do you take our money and choose a specific band to sponsor? Now, you could sponsor Panorama, where all the bands would benefit of the winner's fee and help out with the fees go down the line. No, that's Grenadians would benefit from that totally. But pick one band and sponsor them. In my mind, government entities could put monies into an event like towards the games, the invitational games. I could understand CBI supporting something like that. Sports tourism. The government of Grenada and the CBI has helped sponsor those games, the first 3 games we have had. Yes, we know it's a private, it's private, and we hear it all there. Oh, that's the trump card. It's a private event. All the private events that we jump up and down with at the stadium, all are being sponsored. No one come up with them and say, I don't need no sponsor. And then in the stadium there, the stadium that is just to use the stadium is a hefty sum. I mean, I've heard figures. I'm amazed that is the cost to rent the stadium the National Stadium. From $24,000 up, all up to here, all kind of figures going up to rent the stadium for an event. So they get sponsors. So what do you mean it's a private event? Because it's a private event, they don't need sponsorship. And a private event that would benefit the economy of Grenada, that has benefited the economy of Grenada, that has marketed Grenada around the world. So that's where CBI money should be. Should go towards. Huh? We've heard of, and I'm going to just swear a little bit, the Nawasa SAS. That's something that bothered me. And as I'm on the CBI, that bothered me a bit as well. Because Nawasa is also a subsidiary of the government. And Nawasa could put their money behind the intercall games in totality, in whatever way. Buy trophies, in whatever way, put money towards the organizing of it, sponsor all the schools with spikes. But it must not be that the government coffers spending on one grouping or individuals. No. Something is wrong with that. I'm shocked. What's that? You know? And so it's anything go. Anything go. Anyways, back to regular programming. Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell, in his 2023 budget presentation, spoke to the importance of health, and here is what he had to say.
Transforming our healthcare system is the single most important priority for this administration. Our ultimate goal is to transform Grenada into the health capital of the Eastern Caribbean. This means the highest quality in healthcare facilities and services with access for all, underpinned by a culture of healthy lifestyles. Mr. Speaker, the former administration touted healthcare as a priority. However, there was absolutely no plan to develop the health sector. The facilities were ignored, and our healthcare professionals were treated with disregard. Our nurses in particular were fleeing in droves, and critical services were not provided. Mr. Speaker, our citizens were, and still are, literally afraid to be committed to our hospitals for care. This administration, Mr. Speaker, is committed to delivering on the quality of healthcare that our people deserve. Our health is our greatest asset and therefore quintessential to the transformation agenda. And so, Mr. Speaker, we recognize that strengthening our human resource capacity is going to be critical if we are going to transform our healthcare sector. The government is taking concrete steps to address the human resource capacity challenges facing the healthcare sector. Of great concern is the mass exodus of our nurses. We have engaged the nursing fraternity and have listened to their concerns, which include poor working conditions, job insecurity, nurse shortages, and inadequate compensation. Mr. Speaker, we will move swiftly to address the regularization of our nurses and the training of more nursing professionals.
Swiftly. The word there, the operative word there is swiftly. After 2 years, we're still waiting. If that's not swift time, I don't know what is. So let's wait and see what swift in the NDC is mean, what swift mean in the NDC's vocabulary. Nurses are still fleeing in droves, Mr. Prime Minister, and our people are still afraid to use the facility of the General Hospital in its present construct. Mr. Prime Minister, sir, the front burner is not working. The pot is on, but there's no fire under the pot. After 2 years, you mean to tell me you guys didn't realize that there's no fire on the front burner? That the front burner is not lit? Or it's not working. I don't know if it's because it's not working. There's no fire under the pot. Just talk, talk, talk. Folks, I brought all this to you, to your attention, to show that the administration, the Deacon Mitchell-led administration, have come, or they came, to enrich themselves and their family and their friends, and to help with little Kelanni and the hundreds, if not thousands of Grenadians who are suffering under this deplorable health system. And as I said before, some dying before they're able to raise the monies needed to get health care from abroad. Question: where are we with the new hospital? Coming soon, they said. If you look, you'd see a photo of the Prime Minister and Andy, Deacon and Andy on the screen, hand in the air. And I think there was a caption that said, coming soon, on the lands of the new General Hospital, the new teaching hospital. Yeah, the new teaching hospital. 89 acres of lands were secured according to the Minister of Finance in the 2024 budget. In the supplementary budget on August 29, 2023, 15 million was allocated for the down payment of the lands. Let's hear from the Minister of Finance, Honorable Dennis Cornwall.
Mr. Speaker, a key pillar of our health transformation agenda is the construction of a health complex, the first phase of which is a modern state-of-the-art hospital with teaching facilities through leveraging public and private partnership. In the past year, we have taken a major step towards in advancing this important project. Specifically, we have secured 83.9 acres of land at the Kelanni estate at a cost of 36 million as a site for the build-out of this initiative. Mr. Speaker, the completion of the new hospital is expected to take 36 months. A sum of 7.5 million is allocated for the preparatory works, including architectural and engineering designs.
The question is, where are we with that new hospital? Do we need a new hospital? No, at this point. Your first term in office, but then again, we check in boxes. So that one have to sort go turn anytime now, because that's another box to check. Promise made, promise kept, right? But in the meantime, while we're spending thousands on lands to build a new hospital. We don't have bandages in our clinics. We have no reagents in the hospital. We have, in some instances, not even painkillers. And families and friends of patients have to be trodden up and down from the hospital to the city to find medication. In some cases, they have to order it for their loved ones to save their lives. But we're building a new teaching hospital. If we can't stock the old, how are we going to stock the new? I mean, healthcare should be about saving lives and improving health through prevention, diagnosis, treatment, and it is really about saving lives. And if that is done in a jupa, it's okay. Once we have the necessary means, once we have the resources, once we have material, once we have medicine, and the human resource in health, and doctors and nurses and orderlies and the ones that comes with it. Then, when all of that is in place and we can save the lives of our people, we can offer proper healthcare services. And I'm not saying this today. I have been saying this for years. I champion healthcare when I did the heartbeat program for the NDC, because health is important. And the majority of Grenadians cannot afford to take a flight to Barbados, Trinidad, Miami, Atlanta, the UK, wherever they go for healthcare. The majority of us cannot afford it. So it's either we beg and chomp up, or we sit here and die. And administrations after administration after administration come, and we're in the same place. Only this time, it's the worst I've ever seen it. And it's like we don't have ministers of health. You hear from them once in a while, big talks, either in the parliament. Well, this new one came out, what they would say, hit the ground running. And then we hear nothing again. Boiled down like Baji. But we know why. He's busy is it in St. Patrick with the full farm? And who could blame him? He's seeking his own interest. Because eventually, be it today or tomorrow, he would not be there anymore. And so he have his farm to fall back on. Some are lawyers, they can fall back, they just go back into their firms. So you can't blame them, the ones that trumping up and everybody have a business going now, even t-shirt selling. You can't blame them, because at the end of the day, when some people gone back in their firm, what would they do? But the lives of our people matter. When you put yourself up for office to serve, you serve in whichever capacity the Prime Minister put you in, if you can. And if you cannot, I would say, let him know. He himself should see. And because, as I say, in cabinet, what do? Twiddle thumbs? We need an administration that would attend to the health, the health of our people. That, my friends, can be done under a mango tree if we have the space. We do not need, at this point, a new hospital. What we need at this point is proper health care to save the lives of our people. We just had a new wing open. We just had a new wing of the hospital. A good addition where the emergency, the ER is housed among other things, or other units. So money was spent recently. So let's utilize that. Let's utilize what we have. Yes, it's in the wrong place. Yes, the PAHO and WHO had advised otherwise to the former administration not to put that hospital there, not to build that hospital there. They did anyways. But we can't just abandon it because money was spent. And all we're thinking about is a new hospital, and not taking care of the one that we have. It is clear that all our healthcare facilities are suffering from the lack of materials, medicines, and supplies in general. And as I said, this is not a today thing. It goes way back. But some are worse than others. And this time is the worst I've seen. Recently, I've seen the Minister of Carriacou and Petite Martinique Affairs in social media defending the fact that the medical center or there on the island of Petite Martinique is without adequate supplies. In a Facebook post, this is what Minister Tevin Andrew had to say after dropping supplies to the health center on the island of Petite Martinique. After he left, he dropped off the supplies, left, and went in a corner to do his live. This is what he had to say.
All right, so good morning, everybody. So this morning, my parliamentary team and I distributed some supplies to the Petite Martinique Health Center. Some supplies that really go a very long way to the residents of Petite Martinique that come to seek care or medical attention at the health center. But I just want to address a matter that was brought to my attention via social media as it relates to allegations that the health center has little or no supplies. Most of us are aware of what has been said here in Petite Martinique and those of us in Carriacou. But I want to refute those claims. It is absolutely false. There's no truth to it. The clinic has the necessary supplies. This information was backed up by my visit this morning in Petite Martinique. I want to caution people to be careful with statements that they make because it could have effects on the people that are providing the services. Example, our nurses who are dedicated in providing the service, much needed service for the island of Petite Martinique and Carriacou, who will feel hurt by those reckless utterances. Nonetheless, the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Carriacou and Petite Martinique will continue to collaborate together to provide the necessary services and supplies to our health centers throughout Carriacou and Petite Martinique. There's some additional news as it relates to the Petite Martinique Health Center's upgrade and other equipment that is on its way. So you will be informed shortly about those. But thank you. I just thought it was important to refute those reckless claims and statements that were made.
What affects the nurses, Minister, is when they cannot perform their duties as they should because of lack of medicines and materials. It affects them. I heard the story of a doctor who actually screamed out on the ward at the general hospital when he was told there was no antibiotics. When he left orders to put a particular patient on antibiotics, when he came back and it didn't happen, and he was told, and he asked, well, what's going on here? And was told that there was no antibiotics. He exclaimed on the ward. That is what affected. If somebody say there's no material and there's no medicine in the clinic, and there actually is, how would that affect the nurse? How can that affect the nurses? What nonsense you talking? Because you just hurry up and drop off medicines, whatever little you scrape up wherever, and because you're taking from one and bring to the next. Petit Martinique suffered that fate as well. Suturing material was taken from Petit Martinique clinic to send to the general hospital. So, because you drop off stuff, we know now that it has some stuff that we didn't even show what, because you didn't tell us what you bring supplies, right? And then you went and say they have enough supplies because you just drop it off, sir. Come on, right? So, the story is told, and I verified the story. I spoke to a neighbor, and there's a reason why I couldn't speak directly to the patient, right? They had their hearing impaired. So I spoke to a neighbor who helps out with the patient. And so it's not just a story, but it's a fact that the lady got bitten by a dog. She got bitten by a dog. And they were asked to bring what they would need. I said Dettol soap to wash the wound, I guess, because they have no rabies injection in Petit Martinique. The patient had to eventually go to Carriacou to get the rabies injection. Bring alcohol, bring hydrogen peroxide, and dressing material, gauze and bandages. They were asked to carry that with them. Everything they would need to deal with that wound from the dog. So it's a fact. And don't come there. Well, you can see you're just trying. Your energy was too low for the individual that I know. Like you're tired. You had enough really, but you're driving car, you're in hotel, sprawl off, you and your friends enjoying hotel when you come down. Everybody come over, let's eat and drink and be merry. Y'all in every VIP, not leaving the room with the food. Plates high, embarrassing the protocol workers. You ain't gonna give up that now? Or you ain't gonna speak out as to what's really going on the inside? None of you. Everybody coming out, oh, the Prime Minister is the best Prime Minister ever. I heard the Minister of MIT on a talk show. Oh, best thing since sliced bread. Because why? You're living the life. You're spending money, salaries almost $20-something thousand when you do the math. Money's to play with. Car, house, chicks and chats. Oh, wow. Only yesterday, someone posted from the polyclinic in Guelph. Went with an open wound, a cut. and was told they have to walk with their dressing because there are no supplies at the facility. Now, if you have an issue with supplies and materials at that magnitude, do not wait for someone to show up to your clinic and then say we don't have gauze and things and have people to go and get. Put out a release. I mean, bad as it is, and it would look, but it would help. It would save time and it might save a life as well. Put out a release saying what you don't have. And so when you come in, walk with your stuff, your material, walk with your medicine, bring 2 Panadol on your way in. Yeah, put out a release. I think that would help and would save time and as I said, lives. Because you can't wait for someone to show up at a clinic and then tell them you don't have the medicine, you don't have gauze, you don't have bandages. That's not how that works. That's not how that should work at all. We'll take a quick break and come right back.
Thank you for tuning in to Simon Says. To ensure that you never miss an episode, click subscribe and make sure to turn on the notifications by clicking on the notification bell icon. See you at the next episode.
Welcome back. I want to share with you a beautiful story. In my mind, I think it was a beautiful story, and I thought I'd share it with you. You know, I like to share with you my fans, my listeners, my friends, my family of Simon Says. Last Saturday, the 1st June, former Ambassador Antoine, son of the soil, was honored at a gospel concert in Brooklyn, New York. So they had a little ceremony where they honored him during this gospel concert. The star of the concert, the host of the concert, world-renowned gospel singer Gerald Placid, a Trinidadian born with Grenadian connection. You know how it is with Trinidad, and most of their stardom has Grenadian connection. Mr. Gerald Placid, gospel awarded singer, sang at the White House on 3 different occasions, I think for 3 different presidents, thought it necessary to award Ambassador Dennis Antoine, and I'll tell you why. Speaking of Mr. Gerald Placid, he mentioned to me his connection to Ambassador Antoine. Mr. Placid, at the time, he 9 times tried to commit suicide. He met Ambassador Antoine at a church in Atlanta one day, and his life changed positively from there onwards to date. And I'm quoting here from Mr. Placid. He said, he taught me the value of life. He taught me how to love myself. He supported me emotionally and financially. I had nothing when we met. Mr. Placid encouraged Ambassador Antoine encouraged Mr. Placid then to join the army, go back to school, and that is what he did. Well, his voice is natural, and so when you start to earn money, you can help yourself up with your given talents, your God-given talents, right? And I'm continuing in Mr. Placid describing Ambassador Antoine. He's a statesman, he said. And on Saturday, the 1st June 2024, he got the highest proclamation. Ambassador Antoine is deemed in Washington as one of the most astute diplomats. Now, this is a Grenadian. We're talking about Ambassador Dennis Antoine, okay? He served as Ambassador E&P to the United States of America and permanent representative to the Organization of American States, OAS, in Washington, D.C. He served concurrently as non-resident ambassador to Mexico and Panama, as well as he served from 1995 to 2009, 14 years, the longest serving ambassador from the region, or in the region, this region, the Caribbean. Then on August 13, 2023, he was appointed permanent representative of Grenada to the United Nations in New York City, where he was accredited on September 13, 2013. On January 8, 2016, he was appointed ambassador to Beijing, where he was accredited on May the 17th, 2026. Now, where am I going with this beautiful story? Our beloved Prime Minister was contacted by Mr. Placid, Mr. John Placid, after trying for some time through the office of the Prime Minister to no avail. He eventually got his personal contact and was able to reach him. He was invited to the event as Prime Minister of Grenada to bring congratulatory message to, on behalf of the people, but was given the option of, since, well, we know how busy prime ministers are, he might be too busy to make the trip to New York to send recorded footage, to congratulate, and that's done these days. He could have even done probably a live, right, from Grenada while the ceremony was happening, bringing congratulatory message from on behalf of the people of Grenada. After a while, or of their corresponding probably back and forth, Mr. Placid stopped getting, well, let me put it this way, the Prime Minister stopped answering calls from Mr. Placid. Don't know if he was blocked, but he was not getting through to the Prime Minister anymore. So I asked if anyone represented the government of Grenada at the function. Because if you can't go, you can always send a representative. You have Mr. We have a Mr. Friday, the guy that, or Mr. Brizan, I think. The guy in the consulate there now. And of course we have Auntie Fran, who is as good as the Prime Minister, somebody to represent us in New York. I mean, this to me is a big thing. When I hear the things this gentleman has done for people, I mean, I can't give him my whole show. We're heading into wrapping up time anyways for this segment. And so whether he was appointed initially by the NNP, he made years of service. According to what I read, it seems like he's been there even through, he was not removed during the 2008-13 spat of the NDC. And you don't, and that's something we have to learn to do, not switch up because that person was there. If they're doing a good job, they're doing a good job. For instance, Ambassador Yolande Smith should have been still, but she's doing much better than she was, right? So when I asked about representative from anybody represented the function, the answer was a big no. No one did. And I quote, "It was distasteful that the government paid no attention. They got no support from the consulate, nothing from the permanent mission." Right? I'll show you here some photos of the ambassador, Dennis Antoine, and his colleague, former United States ambassador to Trinidad and Tobago, and the 15th Sergeant Major of the United States Marine Corps, the Honorable John L. Estrada, one of President Obama's closest ally. He's also part of the Biden-Harris transition team. You can see where I'm going with this, right? The gentleman to the left is Mr. Estrada, Ambassador Estrada, and the one to the right is Ambassador Dennis Antoine. So those photos were taken at the award ceremony, when they awarded our own Grenadian Ambassador Dennis Antoine. On behalf of Simon Says family and friends, and on behalf of the people of the state of Grenada, we congratulate our Ambassador Dennis Antoine on your diplomatic achievements, and awards. We thank you for your services and compliments your achievements. Best wishes to you, sir, in your further endeavors. Godspeed. We take a quick break and come right back.
Thank you for tuning in to Simon Says. To ensure that you never miss an episode, click subscribe and make sure to turn on the notifications by clicking on the notification bell icon. See you at the next episode.
Welcome back, listeners, viewers. I just want to implore on the administration, on the government of Grenada. It is not about checking boxes, really. Oh, you happy to say how much of your manifesto promises that you have already checked. The people of Grenada at this point in time do not care about your manifesto and how many boxes are checked. The people of Grenada care about their livelihood. The people of Grenada care about the future of their children. The people of Grenada, on a morning when they wake up, the masses, I should say, care about where they're getting breakfast to feed their kids, to send them to school. And after they might have a cup of hot water, do they have the finances to pay the transportation to take them to school? I heard the minister of MIT boasting on that same talk show how they got the most registration after they announced free tuition. And I spoke about that last week, and he again talked about it. The most registrations in NULO and TAMCC. Yes, you register. After that, what? Do you have clothes to put on your back? Do you have money to purchase your books and the materials you might need for whatever subjects you choose to pursue? Do you have money for transportation? What's the point? What's the point of being able, you get your tuition fee? Yes, it helps. But we are saying that there are persons within the system that needs full scholarship and not just tuition. And we're not saying that the government can afford to give all these persons scholarships. But if you plan properly, the persons, the families that can afford to pay the tuition, let them pay it. They paid it without complaints. What is the show off about? Let them pay it as they were doing without no issues, and use that money now towards helping the ones that cannot afford. Like it or not, you could say who put them in poverty, who keep them in poverty, who feeding them fish without showing them how to fish. I've heard it all. It's been said by every administration. All of them. Let's teach them to fish instead of feeding them a fish every day. But in the meantime, while you're teaching them to fish, and all of that is all talk, they doesn't teach nobody to fish. Right? Whilst that the teaching is taking place, the so-called teaching is taking place, what happened? What happened? So instead of boasting free tuition, sounds good, right? Help the persons, and let me tell you something. These kids that needs these scholarships, in most cases, their achievements and in the end are so great. If only they get the help that they need, the hand up that they need, right? NULO. Lots of young people who are underprivileged go there to learn a skill, and they do a wide range: cosmetology, sewing, you name it, plumbing. You know, as I said, plumbing. I heard in the parliament earlier this week that when kids left primary school, you know, with this new compulsory age, 17 or 18, I heard 17 or 18, I'm not sure. That when they left secondary school, they had nowhere to go. What happened to TAMCC and the Technical and Vocational Institute, which is a part of TAMCC? I had two nephews who did auto mechanic at TAMCC. One, I think he did plumbing, but now worked at the General Hospital as a maintenance guy, right? At TAMCC. After I left convert, I finished school at 15, so I repeated Form 5. And after that, because then they did not have the secretarial section, I went to the GTVI, where I learned secretarial, and there are loads of young people. One of my classmates then is Dr. Wendy Grenade. She and I did the GTVI together, right? So it's not that there was nothing. Some kids and some parents, they send their children to work immediately for various reasons. And some even work to put themselves through further education. At convent, I had a classmate, when she finished convent, she came right back into convent and worked as a teacher. So when you say they had nowhere to go, what do you mean? And something I need to understand further as well is if each secondary school now add on a Form 6, what now happens to TAMCC? Because TAMCC is over Form 6. In those times, when you come from convent, PBC, wherever you came from, you did Form 6 at the GBSS. My two older sisters did Form 6 at the GBSS. Because convent did not have a Form 6, okay? So if you put a Form 6 now, and then after that, then there came TAMCC. So if we put Form 6 in each secondary school, if that's the plan, what happens now to TAMCC? I would like to know. But the Technical and Vocational Institute, that division, you don't hear much about it because everybody wants to go to do the academical part of TAMCC. And, but it's a well-run division of TAMCC, and you can do almost anything extra. At one time, they also had cosmetology. I don't think they have that, they offer that anymore, but they have office administration, and they teach the life skills and all of you. See the young ladies as you drive through Canteen dressed as though they're working in offices, neatly dressed, and endless of them. They've been trained for the working world. So don't trample on what's there and act as though nothing's happening and you're the savior, because you come in with all your ideas without no plan. And I hope next week that I can bring to you snippets of the parliament that was held earlier on this week so that you can see for yourself and hear. Because I know some of you don't get the time to follow it as you should. And so as usual, I would bring to you some snippets of that. And it's all knee-jerk reactions and ad hoc reactions, and so that you say things and without no plan. There's nothing there, nothing for them to do. And that is furthest from the truth. Speak the truth. Nothing wrong if this thing, I don't know if it's regional. I don't know if it's regional that like the CXC, then when we had to switch from the GC to CXC and it was a regional thing. I don't know if it's that and that we have to do that. And as some say, there's nothing wrong with it if you keep them back 2 years in school. But remember, you're sending them all up into secondary school from the age of 11 or 11 plus, because they're not allowed to stay back after the common entrance, right? Even though they pass or not, they meet the pass limit. You sending them up into the secondary school, and now you're sending them up there. Then you decide you're going to keep them back another two years. that they might have spent in secondary school be more well-grounded and ready for the secondary school, you sending them up with universal education. Giving with all and taking with the next. I'm not sure what's going on here. But as I said, I have to, go in more in depth and learn and understand, try to understand what it is really about. But just off the bat, some common sense thinking. I'm not understanding and not feeling it really. But it's happened, it's passed, we are going there. And I asked the question, what happens now to Technical and Vocational Institute, to TAMCC on a whole? What happens there? If they spend back the 2 years that they would have spent there in their respective secondary schools. Folks, we're not looking good as a country. We could pretend, we could hide, we could stick our heads in the sand and leave it there. It's not looking good. It's not feeling good. When you speak to the ordinary man on the street, when you speak to vendors, when you speak to workers, public workers and otherwise. Speaking of which, my public worker that I've been speaking of, she has been finally forced into early retirement. And I hope to get an update. I'm trying to find her. And I hope to get an update from her as to where she goes from here. But it's going to happen. It's going to happen. This is Simon Says, where facts come first. I have a question, and it's been bugging me since the Character Games. It's the first time I passed through River Road coming from the Monge side. And it's just been slipping me, and I've not been able to ask this question. But I'm going to ask it today. Who is responsible for the Arcadian and in Grenadian Palance? Who is responsible for the flowers gathered, planted in the road, in the street in River Road? Now we talk about narrow roads, and because of how people build close to the road, most of the places we can't expand. And because of the project, the St. John's River project, we got some expansion in some areas in River Road, and that was one of the areas. Lo and behold, I'm coming through River Road and I bounce up on a flowers garden in the middle, in the road, right? And I am thinking, if we had that space there, it's a good spot for a pullover if you want to drop off somebody. It could even have been a bus stop. But if you're driving on the road and you have to drop off somebody or to pick up somebody, you can pull off the traffic, pull off from the traffic and do so. Nice little independence celebration, and we decide to plant a flowers garden. And you know, I remember looking at it to the point and hearing the compliments coming from the chairman of the secretariat about this flower garden in River Road. Never in my wildest dream thought the flowers garden was in the road. I mean, what's the thinking there? And every time I say to somebody, did you see the flowers garden in the road? And they say, well, I don't understand. But people they're not speaking out about it. Move the flowers garden from the road. Move the flowers garden from the road. I want to share with you a few clips, 3, as we wrap up. Here's the first one.
From a force where men and women are left to serve in substandard and subhuman conditions where we know right now as the rain has fallen, you have buckets and mops and cloth trying to mop up the water from the substandard police stations and substations that you have been made to work in for the last 38 years.
Okay. So you would think when the NDC came into office, that would be one of the first things on the list to take care of. And this thing does not take 2 years. This thing cannot, the fixing of the police station, you don't need 2 years to think about how and what you're going to do to fix the police station. Ah, yes, we hear the story. It didn't just happen. Hello? You ever wake up one morning and when you look, you see a wooden's nest climbing your walls? It wasn't there yesterday, right? So, Thomas, yes, it can happen in 2 years. It can happen and eat away until the beam, eat away at the beam until the beam fall down. And even if it was happening before, it may not have been visible. But of course, after the termites and they're eating away at the beam, eventually, because what we saw, and I'm going to show it to you, right? That should have been attended to once it was visible. Once it was visible. Let's move on. Let's listen to this other clip of the Prime Minister.
Officers, or police women and men, ensure that you go early to the polls. Ensure that you vote for your future. Ensure that you vote for your fellow colleague. Ensure that you vote for improved working conditions. Ensure that you vote for police stations that are deserving of human habitation. Ensure that you vote for police stations that are covered by galvanized and not tarpaulin. Ensure that you vote for a police station that gives you a comfortable bed to sleep in. Ensure that you vote for insurance so that when the vehicles you are traveling in meets in an accident, you are covered. Ensure that you vote for the salary scale adjustment that has not taken place since 1995, since this incumbent came into power. Ensure that you vote for your pensions. So police officers, I call upon you to make sure that you vote for a professional police force where you are rewarded, treated with dignity, and where you rise through the ranks based on merit and not based on who you are married to.
Mr. Prime Minister, Minister of National Security, sir. If they tell you, I will. This is the worst the police force of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Mani have been ever, morally and otherwise. We have the least amount of officers in the force at the moment. They are all morally demoralized. And in case you don't know, they might have voted for all that you speak of there, but they are disgruntled. The ones that vote for you, that is. They are all disgruntled at the moment. And while I have you there, Mr. Prime Minister, Minister of National Security, let me ask you, is it true that the deputy is going home with brand new vehicle, Toyota, parked up in the yard at night when there are stations, police stations, without transportation? Just a question I need to ask, and something you probably need to follow up on, sir. Right? Now, let's look at this clip.
Right, so we're presently at work at the Grenville police station. Right? Look at this. Look at this. And this is the second set. The first set was already cleaned out. And that's the third set?
Yes, sir.
That's the third set. Your person sitting right here. Come on, man, we need to do better than that. Look at this. This is not safe. Grenville police station is not safe, man. We need something to be done, and done now.
Lest we forget, that's where the 4-year-old fell into the septic tank and lost his life, huh? Lest we forget. Now, I heard the Minister of MIT again. He seems to be, besides the Prime Minister, he seems to be the only other one that can speak. Oh, well, he's the Deputy Prime Minister, so I guess that answers that. Yeah? Saying that they can't do more than one at a time, one station at a time, it's one at a time. I don't understand that story. Is it because they want to use one contractor? Is it Sky? I'm not sure, I'm just asking it. That's a question. Grenada Sky, not Caribou Sky. We have a Grenada Sky from St. David's, the cousin of the Prime Minister. He's a Grenada Sky. I'm trying to, I'll keep that. So why can't they do more than one police station at a time? Is it because they want to use the same contractor to eat the food throughout? Because he says the thing they do in St. Paul's now. You telling me pieces of beam falling on from the ceiling to the floor, and you can't do anything about that now because you do in St. Paul's police station? That's a joke. That's a joke. And why is it you can do more than one station at a time? Please help me here. Help me to understand why you can't do more than one police station at a time. And why 2 years later, pieces of beam falling from the ceiling to the floor where police officers are sitting working. And that's the area where if I have an issue, that's where I go in to speak to the police. So pieces of beam could fall on my head while I'm in the station. Yeah, I know. You're going to say, for security reasons, he shouldn't put up the clip. That is the public area. That's where I would go, or you would go if you have to make a report. And sometimes, when the going gets rough, people don't think. What the minister say when things sweet? Huh? You know? So you cannot. I heard he got pulled in. I hope he's still in Grenville and not somewhere on Hog Island or Sandy Island, somewhere up there now, sitting with a desk watching the trees, you know? But the police officer, in my opinion, was very correct to do it, because when you listen to the clips of the Prime Minister, he might have been one who answered to the call to vote for betterment within the force. He might have been one of the ones, right? I'll leave this with you. This is a wrap on today's episode of Simon Says. It's always a pleasure conversing with you all, keeping them honest. Thank you for joining Simon Says for yet another episode where facts come first. See you next week, same time, same place. Bye now.
Thank you for tuning in to Simon Says. To ensure that you never miss an episode, click subscribe and make sure to turn on the notifications by clicking on the notification bell icon. See you at the next episode.